Uh, Dear participants, good afternoon. On behalf of the organizing committee, I welcome all of you in the last session of ATAL Online FDP on Data Sciences. And this is very important session of this FDP. And the resource person for this session is Dr. Zareen Hussain Farooq from Aligarh Muslim University. Dr. Zareen Hussain Farooq is an assistant professor at the Department of Business Administration, Faculty of Management Studies and Research. Her research and teaching interests include organizational behavior, leadership, change management, strategic management, and management and Islam. Prior to this, she concluded her doctoral thesis at the Department of Business Administration, Aligarh Muslim University. Her PhD topic was change management through balanced scorecard perspective, a study of selected Indian organizations. Dr. Zareen gained an MBA and a first class honors for her BA in economics at Aligarh Muslim University. She holds a certificate for attending Durham Islamic Finance Summer School at Durham University Business School, United Kingdom. And we are fortunate enough to have a session with Dr. Zareen Hussain Farooq. Thank you, ma'am. And it's over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Am I visible? Okay. Thank you. Welcome all. How are you all? I hope you all are doing well. It's the last session of the last day, and it says 2.5 hours, but don't worry, it will not go for that long. We will finish in about an hour because I have come to know that you also have your online exam and you have to answer MCQs. So don't stress out, and we will try to finish it at, like, by 3:30, inshallah. Okay, so stress, it is sometimes it is something which we all experience, and in everything that we do. Can we have the next slide, please? Can we please change the slide? Thank you. So why this session? This session because, of course, in our daily lives, in daily routine, no matter what we do, for example, even if you are here in this session and you are engaging yourself in this session, but at the back of your mind, maybe you are stressed out about your MCQ, about your exam. So that is okay. And even like anything that we do, we need to have, we somehow or the other we get stress. Sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's negative stress, but we do experience stress. So that is why we need to have this session. And since we all are from the academic background, we all are teachers, so definitely while teaching, whether we are in a physical setup with the students or whether we are engaging classes online, we experience stress for some reason or the other. So that is why we thought this stress management session would be useful for you, and we can discuss few things here. Can we have the next slide, please? I'm not able to. Okay, yeah, I see the. Okay, so objective of this session again, so that we can discuss some ideas, we can discuss some strategies which we can take up as teachers, as professionals, and even people who are not teachers, who are in a different professionals. Similar strategies they can also take up. So that would be the objective of this session, that by the end of this session we may be able to reach at some concrete strategies that we can take up in our lives, in our professions, in our even in our personal lives, to save ourselves from a very higher level of stress, and we may deal with the things with little stress. Next, please. Okay, so our norms of the day, of course, like as you all are attending this session since a few days, like, of course, every people, you all participants can keep your mics muted, and of course, if you want to write anything in the chat box, you are most welcome. And if you wish to say anything, you can definitely unmute your mic if you wish to share any experience of yours, and that's all. Next, please. So let us talk about stress management. First of all, if we see this picture, from here you can understand that what happens when we are under stress. What happens when we are under stress, or we are driving under stress, or we are maybe you can relate any other activity to this picture. For example, here somebody, people are driving under stress. We may be engaging classes under stress, or we may be mm, watching TV under stress. So what happens if when we are under stress? This picture shows that our performance is badly affected due to stress. For example, you can see how all the cars have collided, or like they have crashed into one another. So this shows that stress management, if not done, then the consequences of stress would be not very helpful, not very uh, good for us, which is clearly visible from this picture. Next, please. Okay. So see, even in this picture, if you see a zebra is there, and a zebra is seeing that the lines of zebra are disappearing. So maybe this could be a stress for him. You know, he may think that this is due to stress, that he is losing his identity, his features. So according to zebra, it could be a stress. Next, please. Thank you. Now, stress can be good, bad, or ugly. Now, how? Because in anything that we do, we may also try to focus on the teacher perspective, but in general also, since because of lockdown and because of the COVID situation, we all are more at homes, and then we are more in contact with our family, with our members. So let us discuss stress from teachers perspective, and also as long like as far as we can discuss related to our personal lives. So it could be good, it could be bad, or it could be ugly as well. How could it be good? It could be good, for example, if there is a birth of a child in your home. For example, there's a marriage plans at home, or maybe somebody is buying new home, or maybe Diwali is coming up, or any festival. Christmas is coming up, Eid is coming up, and everybody is excited, but at the same time they are also under stress that okay, we have to maybe buy new curtains, maybe we have to set the home differently. So that is also could be a reason for stress, but that would be a good stress. That stress will be good because we are doing something positive. Then sometimes if we are at office, and we get promotion. For example, if somebody is assistant professor and he gets promotion as associate professor, then also with that stress comes, because with that more responsibility comes. And maybe if at somebody's home, if children are not performing well in exams, then also they might feel stressed out that how to improve their child's performance in the school. And also sometimes, for example, you have a deadline to finish your MCQs till 5 p.m., so that is also a stress, maybe a cause of stress. But I am sure you all will handle that well. Then, of course, in some very unfortunate cases, for example, if there's some accident in somebody's home, or death, or maybe a court case, or maybe some stressful situations are there, then definitely stress could be in a very bad shape as well. Next, please. Thank you. So this is something which I have tried to draw, that what are the types of stressors. Like, stressors means which are causing stress. So those could be due to environment. Emotional stressors could be there due to time, deadline, time limit, because of communication as well. For example, if you are trying to if for example, if I am trying to communicate something to you, but you are understanding it in some other way, then it would be a cause of stress, that you are not able to understand what I am trying to convey. Again, for example, physical situation could be there which may cause stress. Also mental situation could be there which could cause stress. Okay, next please. Yes. So, what is stress? See, if we see that why stress is caused, we may understand that. For example, if I need to present my uh, session, if I need to present these slides here, and if I at the end end moment I'm not able to share the slides from my side, then it could have been stressful for me, because sometimes what happens that there's pressure to perform, and maybe you don't have the resources. For example, if I need to prepare, I may share, since last few days my laptop wasn't working well. So what happened that I needed to prepare some PowerPoint, something to present to students, but then my laptop wasn't working well. So I did not had the resource. Laptop was a resource, so I was lacking resource, and there was excessive pressure on me also to finish things in time. But somehow, alhamdulillah, I managed. But then it may create excessive pressure on people, and then what happens, it leads to anxiety, it leads to worry, it leads to sometimes um, some kind of uncomfortable situation where people are behaving we start behaving differently. So basically that we will come next in future slides. But stress is caused when we have excessive pressure on ourselves and we lack resources. That is explained in the next slide. If we can see the next slide, please. In the next slide, we see that stress is caused. Can we have the next slide, please? Yes. In the equation is, can you please click? The equation shows that stress is caused when the pressure is greater than resources. When pressure is equal to resources, then we may not feel stress. And if the pressure is less than resources, then also we may not feel stressed out. But stress is caused when our pressure is more and the resources is less. For example, when we started online classes, then we all were not very comfortable with Zoom or Google Meet. So we had the pressure to perform, to finish the course, and at the same time we were not very comfortable with the resource. But slowly we learned, and that decreased the level of our stress. So stress would be caused when when we would be having excessive pressure and lack of resources. Next slide, please. Yes, please click more, please. Okay, thank you. So stress would produce following feelings. If we are a teacher and if we have to perform in the class, and if we are not very comfortable with the situation, maybe if we think that some students may ask many questions, if we think that the topic is very tough, or we may think that, oh, I was busy in some activity yesterday, we went to meet our friends but we couldn't prepare for the lecture. That was different purposes. Stress would be there and it would lead us to such situations. We would be starting worrying because we have class at 8 a.m. and we haven't prepared. We would be in tension, and if we would work till late night, we would feel fatigue, tired. And at the same time, since we haven't given enough time for preparation, we would also fear that what if we do not prepare, we do not perform good before the students. And if this is one time situation, then it is okay, we would be able to address it. But if it is ongoing situation and it is continuous situation and daily we are not able to make up time for our class preparation or for delivering lectures, then it would be a very continuous process, and that would lead us in a continuous situation where we would be continually tired, we would be uh, daily feeling fatigue, and we would be staying in fear all the time. And definitely it may lead to a very more serious situation such as depression if people are not able to receive what they have expected out of their profession. So that may also happen. But definitely, so there is need to meet these issues. For example, if we have not been able to prepare at one night and we went to meet our friends, and at the next morning we experienced in the class that if we will not prepare well, we would not be able to perform well, and that would give us so much tension, right? So next time when we have class at 8 a.m. and if we have not prepared and if we need time for preparing our presentation or lecture, then we may avoid going if it is not necessary. So next time we need to build up strategies to address these issues so that they do not go on and on and on, right? Anybody wants to add anything at any time, you're most welcome. Is that so? Anybody would like to say anything? Any idea, any input, any comment? You can add comment in the chat box anytime. Okay? All
Okay,
right.
madam.
I hope okay. I hope all the participants are attentive and listening and not attending MCQs. Okay, so can we have the next slide, please? Okay. So types of stress. So we have external stress factors. There are few more. Can you click, please? Yes, there are two more, I guess. One more, I think, yes. So there are external stress factors. What are external stress factors? These are some factors on which we do not have control. For example, if we are in a teaching profession, even then, these are some of the stress factors on which we do not have control. For example, mm, in the building where we teach or where we are located, there may be noise, there may be lights which may disturb us. They may be not air conditioned. There may be a lot of heat, hot weather in the hot weather, or maybe we have confined spaces. We do not have enough space to to engage classes or to have our meetings. So these are some of the physical environment which may cause stress. Then social interaction also is a sort of external stress factors, such as if 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 at our workplace somebody is rude with us, or if some people are aggressive, or if somebody is talking to us in a bullying manner, trying to taunt us, bully us. So that is also sometimes some like almost every time that's a cause of stress. That is a stress factor which is coming from external environment, because we don't have any control over it. We are receiving it from the other end. Similarly, there are organizational factors as well. For example, in the university you are working, or in any company where other peoples are working, there are rules, there are regulations, and those rules and regulations may be sometimes tough for us, sometimes they may be convenient for us. So we would be working under those guidelines, and they may be a cause of stress, but they are external factors. We don't have any control over them. Next slide, please. Yes. Okay. Can we have the next slide, please? Thank you. So, internal stress factors. Internal stress factors, again, this is something which we can work on, right? So, for example, our lifestyle. For example, if we are drinking too much caffeine, or if, for example, we are not sleeping enough at night, and if we have overloaded us with a lot of work, and if we think that we if we would perform so much activities, we may not be able to give time to our family, but we are not reducing our workload. So that is a sort of internal stress. Like that is a kind of internal stress factor, because that is something which we have control over, but we are not modifying our pattern. our life pattern or our sleeping pattern or our eating pattern. So we are not changing that anyway. So that would cause stress. Then negative self-talk. It is something which is common in people who are pessimistic, who underrate themselves, who think that they are not as good as others. And for example, if we somebody else teaching well, and if some students are praising some other teacher, and we may not feel good about it, but that's okay, because we have our abilities, and we may be performing according to our capabilities. We cannot copy the other person, or we cannot behave like another person or talk like another person. But yes, we can develop our skills in such a way that we also talk nicely to other people, and we also um, liked by others. But it doesn't mean that we start comparing ourselves with others. Okay, so pessimistic thinking, self-criticism, and thinking too much, like over analyzing situation, is something which definitely causes stress in one's life. But since it is internal stress factor, we all can address those issues, and we all can overcome those issues if we identify them. Okay. Similarly, we have mind traps. Mind traps is something which our mind have started thinking, and mm, for example, it has become our habit. Okay. For example, unrealistic expectations, if we have from somebody, from our colleague, if we are expecting too much, and if we are expecting that he will go out of the way or she will go out of the way to help us, then that's not a good idea to do. We should not have unrealistic expectations from anyone, and we should not take things personally, because for example, in meetings, or in some, like in such meetings, if something is said about any idea which is presented, so that is okay. We should not take it personally that the person is trying to criticize us. No, maybe he has a valid point, but since we had presented this idea and now he's saying no, so we may take it personally. But don't take it personally, because maybe sometimes others ideas are for good, and maybe we get good advice this way. And we try to exaggerate things. Sometimes it is not what, for example, if our colleague has said something to us but it is not that serious, but we try to build up things, exaggerate things. So that is also not a good situation, because that causes stress in our minds, and the situation also becomes stressful. Also, our relation with our colleagues, and if we take our friends, family members, that also becomes stressful, right? And even the personality traits, it depends what kind of a personality we have. If we are a perfectionist, which people are, nobody can be perfectionist, because perfectionism is a stage. Once you reach there, you can't improve yourself. And so, but I think we all have always room for improvement. So some people, if they think that okay, we are perfectionists and whatever, so that would definitely give them stress, because they will be under pressure to prove themselves perfectionist all the time. Workaholics, and they think that this is my way of thinking. So these are all different ways of personality which people have, and it definitely causes stress. Can we have the next slide, please?
Dr. Zareen,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
one of the participants has post her observation in the chat box. Can you comment on
Okay,
that?
okay, 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 sir. Okay, sir. I just saw that. During Andalip Zohra has dropped a message in the chat box. During COVID-19 lockdown, the teaching community is working from home, but most of the time busy with classes and other academic responsibilities. Due to this, even being at home, you're not able to give time to family as much as they expect. This also adds to stress. Definitely, definitely. And I must say that I think that when we are at home since 8 or 9 till 2, we are not doing anything at home, I think. And even at evenings we are preparing for our, lectures or ppts, because now we have to upload ppts and we have to give assignments, and so much work has increased, and the stress has also increased, Anleep, that's no doubt about it, because now um, even being at home, even if we are at home, we are engaging in classes, and all the time, even in teaching profession is something where you have to come back home and you have to prepare for the next day, or you have to keep reading something, or you need to, sometimes if you have some research scholars under your supervision, you finish their work, review their work. So somehow the other we are engaged otherwise also. And during COVID-19, definitely we are at home, but we are not able to give time to our family. That is a major cause of stress. That is true. But for that, we may discuss some of the strategies which we may plan, and how to address this issue, how can we find more time for ourselves and for our family. And I think it is also very important to find time for ourselves also, because sometimes we need time for ourselves also, that we are sitting in solitude, maybe planning something, maybe thinking, or maybe calling somebody. So that is also very important. So we would be coming to some strategies. Let's see. And then when we discuss that strategy, please let me know if you can practice any of those. Okay. All right. So I'll quickly wind this up, that stress is definitely there, but then we should avoid it because it has negative and positive effects. Let us discuss the negative stress first. As we all know, the negative stress is something which contribute to the negative aspect. For example, we would get headache, we would get, some skin complaints, or we would not be able to sleep at night. That's insomnia. And if this goes on a higher side, and if we are not getting sleep enough, and we are thinking, over analyzing, then we our mind may get affected mentally, people may get disturbed. And if stress is not relieved for a long period of time, it would definitely cause a negative, harmful effect on our mental, physical, and spiritual health. So it is very important to address stress. And what is positive stress? Now, positive stress is something where you are motivated, where you feel encouraged. For example, mm, for example, suppose I have to engage this session, and but at the same time I was like feeling that, okay, what to say, what not to say. And at the same time I was also excited that I would be able to, engage session in ATAL online faculty development program, and I would try to give my best. And I was looking forward to the comments from the participants. So I mean, there was a kind of a positivity as well. So this we can call as a positive stress, that there is stress, of course, that we need to perform, but there is a positivity, that we are motivated, we are aware that, okay, what we need to do, how will we manage, and how will we cope up with the challenging situation, how will we address the for example, how will I address the session, right? So positive stress provides a sense of urgency and alertness, which is required when we are facing some threatening situations. Okay, so I hope this is clear. So can we have the next slide, please? Thank you. This we have already discussed, that positive stress is short term, because for example, I would be finishing this session, then I would be relieved, right? So positive effects of stress is that it is it is for a short span of time. It motivates the person, it encourages the person feels excited that, okay, I need to perform, maybe for example, when you get chance to maybe organize a workshop, then okay, you need to perform, and it would be a for a short span of time. That is stress. You would feel pleasant, you would feel, useful, and it will help your mental and physical fitness to grow. Okay, and it will also fill you with energy, and it will sharpen your mind because you will have experience. For example, if you are arranging a workshop in your department, and it has happened, then after that you would feel pleasant, you would feel useful for your department, and you would also feel charged up, that you would feel physically, well, and at the same time you would be sharpening your mind, because for future workshops you would be prepared, right? So this way, these are the positive effects of stress. And the negative effects of stress, like I mentioned, that it would, if not addressed earlier, it may cause to headaches or insomnia, or sleep, not good sleep. And if it would prolong, it may cause mental and physical problem, and also it may affect our lifestyle. Can we have the next slide, please? Thank you. This is also very important, that stress is individualistic. What do I mean by that? Stress is individualistic means that, for example, if something is stressful for person A, it might not be that stressful for person B, because he would be perceiving it from a different angle, right? For example, some of you might have organized workshop in your department earlier also, or maybe some of you are in the teaching profession since 5 years, so you would not be as stressed as those teachers who have just started their career, and it may be who's it's like only first or second year of teaching, right? So stress is individualistic. In the same situation, one person may feel more stressed, and in the same situation the other person may feel less stressed. It Because every one of us is different, we have our different capabilities, we have different perceptions, and also different ways to handle the stress. Okay, so on the basis of our experience, on the basis of our past performance, we would be able to handle stress. All individuals would be able to handle stress um, differently. Okay, can we have the next slide, please? Okay, can we have the next, please? I've discussed this. Thank you. Can we have next slide, please? Please, next. Next. Yes. Yes, this is something which I have tried to present in this form. Like what could be the physical symptoms, what could be the emotional symptoms, what could be the behavioral symptoms, that how it is very important to see how we would change our behavior. We may start getting in conflict with others. We may, try to, overreact, or pick up fights for no reason, or we would be wanting to isolate ourselves, not being social a lot. So these are some of the symptoms which I have tried to present it in this tabular form. Next slide, please. Okay. Yes, same thing. That if we are emotionally affected, we may lose confidence, and if we would not address it, we would keep staying in the same situation. Our physical, our mental, our behavioral changes will come. So this is something which same thing which we have discussed, but I've tried to express, like, depict in this form as well. Can we have the next slide, please? Thank you. Yes. So definitely, if as a teacher, or as a professional, or in any profession, if we think that we are stressed out, and if we are not able to address that, we would it would affect our personal life as well. And if we will not manage our time well, and stay less stressful, We would not be able to go out much with our family. We would we would be having disturbed family relations. We would not be able to contact our friends that much, and we would be maybe having a sense of isolation. We may not be able to meet people a lot. We would feel uncomfortable. So that is why stress needs to be managed. Can you the next slide, please? Next, please. Yes, this is something which I was looking for. So now, how can we control stress? What could be our strategy as a teacher, as any professional, as a son, as a wife, as a husband? What could be our strategy? So we have I have tried to say it as an ABC strategy. Can you please click? Yes, yes, thank you. So this is ABC strategy. So in ABC strategy, what happens that we need to identify the source of negative stress. Positive stress is good because it is for short time and it is a source of giving us some encouragement, motivation, and our energy boost up. So positive stress is okay, but how what strategy do we need to cope up with, what strategy do we need to adopt to cope up with stress? So we have so we need to first identify what is the source of negative stress and how can we cope up with it. So I have called it as ABC strategy. A, we can say awareness about what is our causes of stress. For example, if we are teacher and if we are facing stress, then why is that so? Do you think like Anleeb Zohra has just mentioned that are we not able to balance our work and life? So is that the reason why we are under stress? Hmm? Or there is balance in work and life, but we are not able to perform well in our sessions, or maybe we are not able to upload notes in time, or we are not able to upload our powerpoints in time. So what is the cause of stress actually? Why are we stressed out? So first of all, we need to have the awareness that what is causing stress. Then the second step would be balance. Now, the balance is that there is a very fine line between the positive and negative stress that we have discussed, positive and negative stress. But what is that fine line? Because of that fine line, anytime the positive stress can turn into a negative stress. So there is a very fine line between positive and negative stress. And how can we cope up with the positive stress so that it doesn't touch the next level, it doesn't change into a negative stress, right? So we need to balance things in such a way that our positive stress remains positive, it doesn't turn into negative. And for C is control. How can we address it and combat the negative effects of stress? How to address the situation? What happens sometimes if um, sometimes happens that maybe we are not able to meet the deadlines, but why maybe if you want to meet the deadlines, then definitely we all need to work hard on it. And maybe for 2 or 3 days, if we even do not sleep at night, and if we finish our work and we upload our notes and PowerPoint and whatever maybe the situation is, it would give us immense pleasure. And then we would have a kind of peace that we were able to meet deadlines. And then because that working 1 or 2 days till late night would be also a short for a short span of time, and that would also be a positive stress because that would be giving us a source of motivation. We would be having a good idea that we would be able to finish our work in time and we would be like sitting peacefully then. I if There could be more stresses like, for example, in the class also, sometimes what happens that sometimes if teacher is trying to explain things and my students are asking many questions, and it happens that many times we do not know the answers of many questions, then we didn't there's no need to worry about it because we cannot know everything. So it the best way is to say that okay, I'll check and I'll come back to you in the next class. We can note that question and we can say that I need to check that, I am not sure about it, please give me time and I'll get back to you in the next class. So these are, because if we will think that oh, the student asked me something and I did not know that, and in front of whole class I was not able to answer, then it would be a source that would be a negative effect, that would give us negative effect, and that would be a source of stress but negative effect it would give us. But if we will think that okay, I would also learn this way, and I can find out and I can read more about it, then it will be a positive effect, that we will be having a stress that we will need to tell a student about it, but that would be giving us a positive effect because we are encouraged, right? Just a moment please, my phone is ringing. Okay, can we have the next slide please?
Dr.
Yes,
Zareen,
yes, sir.
there is one query in chat box. Can you?
Okay, I just came, right. When to stop improving something, say lecture preparation, as there is no limit on how much you can improve. Lecture preparation, see, see, so, there are always updation in this also. Like earlier we used to have, earlier we used to have, just give me a moment, please. Hello. Yes, sorry about that. So, you know what happens? Um, Whenever, for example, earlier we used to prepare PowerPoints, right, Mohammed Nadeem? We used to prepare PowerPoints, and then now there is updation that we can also have some visual effects in that. So as long as we think that we are trying to update ourselves with the latest, ways to teach students, and we are providing the latest maybe examples, or maybe we are able to update our notes, and we are able to update our presentations, then that's okay. But recently I have also noticed that there is a lot of stress on um, giving visual effects in our presentation. That is, for example, I used some where the cars were crashing, and how the zebra line was going down. So sometimes it is said that the visual effects is also very very useful. So we can stop preparing for our lecture when we think that we are updated, and we have included very relevant examples, very updated examples, very recent examples. So I think then, and if you are very expert in your if your subject, then I think if you don't need to prepare for the lecture. But in my department, in the Department of Business Administration, I have spoken to many senior professors, and they say that even now before their lecture, they go through the slides once They go through the slides once, that what are they going to discuss, and they go through the case studies, and they go through the, some of the recent examples. They keep updating themselves, because that is important. Otherwise students will not get very updated information. So as long as you need improvement, you should keep doing improvement. I think I'm able to address your query. Okay. Okay. So yes, now what could be the stress management techniques? So as a teacher, like I have mentioned here, that reframing, positive thinking, that we need to focus on our strengths. Like what do not criticize yourself, do not underestimate yourself. You need to focus on your strengths. You need to know that what am I capable of, right? And you need to turn your strengths into your future strengths. Do not get upset, or if you have a few weaknesses, because that is okay. But you need to cash your strength. You need to learn from the stress. For example, if we are not able to do anything in time, that is okay, but next time we need to plan that how will we be able to do that in time, right? And we need to look for opportunities, in the sense that what would match our strengths, that we can cash our opportunities, that our strengths may fit in those opportunities. And of course we need to make a positive change in ourselves, not negative change. We should not get into that situation where we are picking up fights, or where we are easily getting involved in conflicts. So that is something which we should not do. We should always be positive about things, and happy with whatever strengths we have, right? Can we the next slide, please? Any participant, anything is it anything you would like to add? Any comment? Please do in the chat box, or yes, yes. Another stress management technique is that we may change our behavior. If we are not well organized, if maybe we don't have folders for each year notes, and sometimes what happens that we just paste it on desktop or in our drives. So what we can do is we can prepare folders year wise of the subjects, and that would be helpful for us, because we can always refer back. And we need to be assertive. We can also be humorous sometimes to add we can have light moments with students as well. And we also like among our friends, among our family members, we may also be able to express ourselves, so that would help us a lot. And yes, if needed, we need to change our lifestyle, our sleeping pattern maybe. If we are not able, if we are not sleeping in time, if we are not getting up in time, because in lockdown the sleeping pattern has got affected a lot. So that is also important. These are also stress management techniques. Can we have the next slide, please? Yes. And first and foremost thing is that we need to admit the situation. What happens that sometimes I was speaking to somebody the other day, and they were saying that the patient needs to admit that, for example, if he has diabetes, he needs to accept that he has got diabetes, because acceptance brings a lot of peace in one's mind. So same way, if we accept that okay, we are under stress, we are anxious about so and so thing, then only we would be able to address that thing better. And if we would keep saying no, 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 I'm not under stress, I can handle it well, I don't think about it, then it would increase the stress level. Okay, so important is that we accept, we admit that we are feeling stressed, we are anxious. Okay, Next slide, please. Yes. Again, same thing. Again, same thing that we need to listen to those who are around us, and if who if we if for example, it happens everywhere. For example, sometimes they could be our colleague or our friend or any family member who may force us to indulge in a negative situation. So who that person is, who because of whom we are feeling stressed, so we need to take a good step about that also. Awareness, ABC strategy. So awareness, what is the cause of our stress? For example, if a person is a cause of our stress, then we need to build a strategy in such a way that we maintain some distance from that person, and we are not indulged in him or in her activities quite often. Because if there is something or the other thing which that person is saying to us continuously, and that is affecting our mind or our performance, then we should stay away from that person. Okay, it is very important. Then, are we filling ourselves with the negative thoughts? In that situation also, we need to change our thinking pattern. We should think positive about ourselves. And how can you react differently so you won't be so affected by the situation? In that situation also, for example, like I talked about, our friends, our colleagues, our family members, and we know that if this person would talk something negative, I would be affected. So try to not get affected in front of that person, because if the person will see that you are getting affected, he will get more chance next time to make you feel stressed. So you need to show that you don't care. You don't care, and it doesn't affect you, it doesn't cause any stress to you, right? So this could be a good strategy. Next slide, please.
So Zareen, there is a
Yes,
question
yes,
in
the chat.
chat.
Yeah, correct, correct.
You have comment in that.
Okay, Dr. Syed Atif Jilani. Okay, okay. Sometimes we end up with a boss who is the real cause of stress. How to handle that external stress? Okay, okay. I think if we are stuck with a boss who is the real cause of stress, then we have to accept this first. Just accept that this don't expect that he would change. Okay, first thing, don't accept that he would change. The second thing is that like Professor Kiran says, surrender first. Yeah, I mean, but then you have to build some strategy to keep your mind cool. Because if you will surrender, then again you will feel upset, and that I can't do anything. So on your behalf, what you can do is, first of all, you accept that this person is the real cause of stress, and he is causing me, like, stress, tension. And what you can do is that, okay, whatever he is saying, you do that. You just don't take any effect on your mind. And because and for example, if he says something to you for overtime, for example, okay, but don't show him, don't show this to him that you didn't like that or you are being affected. Okay, don't show this to him. Because if you will show this to him, he will be more charged up. He will think that, okay, that may give him some kind of a pleasure. Some people gets pleasure when they cause stress to the other person. So you are aware that this person is the reason. Then you change your behavior. Stay calm. You don't show your feelings with that person. Okay, so this would be the change in your behavior. And don't talk. And one very important thing that is from my personal experience also, I would say, that don't talk about him. For example, don't talk about him to your colleague, to your friend. किसी से बात ही मत करिए उसके बारे में. Because I have noticed one thing, that more you will talk about a person who is giving you stress, or more you will talk about a stressful situation, it will increase your stress. It will definitely increase your stress, because then you will not be able to think anything else. So it is important to try to forget about him when you are with other people company. Don't talk about him, because that will give you time to think of other positive things, right? Okay. And so B could be this behavioral change. Okay, ABC strategy. And in C, I hope you are able to follow this, because I know saying is easy and doing that is difficult. But this is from my personal experience. Stop talking about him to your friends, to your colleagues, to your family. Just talk to him, and when you're out of the office, just forget him, and don't let him know that you are being affected. Okay. Um, may I know from where you are, Dr. Atif Jilani?
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, Assalamualaikum.
Yeah,
I saw
I'm
I
from.
saw your name and I thought I know you.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
I hope my feedback will help you some way.
Yeah, sure.
Nice to see you,
For the
Atif.
request.
Thank you. Okay.
Thanks for the reply.
Can we? No, my pleasure, my pleasure. Can we have the next slide, please? Okay, so this is again a visual where see Mr. Dr. Muhammad Nadeem. So this is also a visual which, for example, a person could also present in points. But if you try to present it in visual, then see, this is how we can improve our lecture, we can improve our presentation. So how can you manage your stress? Avoid a stressful situation, but you cannot avoid that stressful situation in this case when you have to meet your boss. Okay, so avoid stressful situations sometimes. Set priorities, that okay, my priority is this, and I would not think about so and so. You need to think what your priority is. And yes, you need to change the way you react to stress. You don't indulge in conflict, don't indulge in any negative action, and don't indulge in don't let anyone know that you are under stress. And we need to change our behavior pattern also. Okay, how we react to stress at abruptly, how it is, how do we handle it. Manage how stress affects you. We need to see how to affect how to manage stress affecting us. Maybe we can go for a movie, or maybe we can start watching TV. What I do usually, I'll share my personal experience. If I feel stressed, I just call somebody. I just call somebody and I talk to that person for 10 to 15 minutes. And that somehow, then after 10 to 15 minutes, I forget what I was thinking earlier, because my mind gets diverted. So that could be a strategy. Change how you see the situation. Sometimes it's like I mentioned that in a class, if we are asked about a question, and we take it on a personal note, and we it is something how you are handling the situation. But if you take it on a positive note, that okay, I'm learning, I'm here to learn, I'm here to discuss, don't expect that I know everything. But if there's something which I can help you with, I'm here. Or I can go back and I can check and I can come back, right? Yes. And you need to discover new relaxation techniques. For example, of course, these days we have yoga, we have meditation, and some people go out with friends, they have cup of tea. So that is also some ways of relaxation techniques. Figure out what's most important to you. For example, Anleeb asked me that we are not able to balance work life, but we need to know that both things are important to us, and how to give their due time to them, right? So we need to plan this in such a manner that we are able to give our 100% to our profession as well, and to our family as well. Can we have the next slide, please? We also need to finish your MCQ. Yes. Okay, so quickly, if we can do this exercise. Next slide, please. You need to think yourself that how would you behave in such stressful situations. Click more. If you're driving your car in a rush hour, that how would you be behaving? You think, and now try to change that behavior. For example, if it is negative, if we are stressed out, and if we are, in a rush hour, and our car is still, but still we are, thinking that how we are still blowing horn, that would not help us anyway, right? So we need to think how we behave when we are driving in rush hour, and how can we behave, right? Getting a last minute work assignment. If we are getting a last minute work assignment, how will we behave, and how can we behave to manage stress? What can we do to manage stress? Of course, it's a last minute assignment and we have to finish it anyhow. So let's do it peacefully. Misplacing something in the house or office. If we misplace something in the house, we start, saying to the other person that you must have put it somewhere, and sometimes it's that we put it somewhere and we forget, so we start blaming other people. So how will we behave if we misplace something in the house or office? So think, how do we behave, and think, how can we behave, how our behavior could be better. Next slide, please. Yes. For example, if something break while we are using it, then will we panic, or will we be like, okay, ab tootna tha toot gaya? Or for example, if we are dealing with some incompetence at work, that like I mentioned, for example, if something is there which we do not know and we need to learn it, so are we ready to learn, or are we under stress कि अभी अभी सीखना पड़ेगा? So it is something how you handle the situation gracefully, right? Planning your budget even. Next slide, please. Right. Okay. See, in this picture, if you see that the doctor is telling wife that he will be fine, his essentials were depleted, because the husband was so much under stress that he was having fast food, he was so much busy in his email, cell phone. I mean, these are something which he is relying upon to live. For example, this is something which he was relying upon. See, it is written down, people in the process of earning a living forget to live. So he even forgot how to live. He was so much like his glucose, his trips, everything were these. This was all the um, things on which he was, spending his life since day till night. Can we have the next slide, please? Okay. The bad news is that stress is an inescapable part of modern life. We cannot escape ourselves from stress, okay? But the good news is that stress isn't altogether bad news. Stress is sometimes good for us too. Like we mentioned about the positive stress, it is sometimes good for us too. And we need to see that thin fine line, that our positive stress doesn't turn into negative stress. We need to keep ourselves motivated and encouraged, so that we stay charged up and we feel good after completion of the work. Because see, if we have got a last minute assignment, we would be doing it anyway. So let's do it happily and feel good about it, that we were able to meet the deadline. Can you the next slide, please? Okay. So like we know it's a graveyard. So we can say that this could be the only place where there would be no stress. See, this is again a visual depicting an idea. This could be the only place where there would be no stress, because as long as we are alive, as long as a person is alive, they would be stressed because of some reason or the other. So the main thing is that how do we handle stress, and how do we not get ourselves affected with that. Can we have the next slide, please? It's almost done. We are almost at the end of it. Yes, that is what I said. Can we have the next slide, please? Thank you. So we have come to the end of the presentation. If you have any comment or anything you would like to add, because of course I'm not an expert and I'm also at a learning stage, so anything you would like to add, you're most welcome, because it's always a two-way learning and I would be very happy to learn from you if there's anything that you would like to add.
Dear participants,
Any
any doubt
inputs you would like
regarding
to
this
add,
session?
anything, any experience you would like to share, I'm sure we all would be happy to hear that. I think, okay, let's see, we have, okay. Ma'am, how to be consistent with one's plan? Okay. For example, if you have planned something and if you think it doesn't need any change, then I think you mean this, that how to be consistent with one's plan. For example, you mean to say how can we stick to our plan, right? So if you think that this is the right plan for you, this is a good plan for you and a beneficial plan for you, then okay, you stick to it. But somehow I believe that once things are planned, once we plan something and when we start doing it, then changes come, because when we are planning at the beginning we are not aware of the situation which we would be encountering, or maybe many things. But when we have started working on our plan, many times what happens that we come with a better idea and we modify our plans. So it is very good to be consistent with your plan. For example, your plan is to become a professor at AMU, suppose, right? So this is a very good plan. But while fulfilling that plan, maybe you have thought to write research papers. This is your plan. But maybe you might meet a professor someday and he would say that why don't you write a book? Why don't you try to write? Why don't you try to attend some conferences? So I mean, a broad plan if you have, that is good, but the sub plans for fulfilling the broad plan may stay make you may keep them, you may update them from time to time, because maybe something is there which we do not know today, but when we start working on the plan, we realize that maybe this would be a better strategy, so you can keep updating your strategy. So I hope I'm able to answer your question, Shokat. So I think there are no more questions. So this is all from my side, Dr. Sajid.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you very
Thank you, ma'am.
much. I hope this was useful for the
Yes,
students.
thank you very much for this informative and valuable session.
Thank
We
you.
are very much grateful for you.
Thank you for
And
giving me the opportunity, Muhammad Sajid. Thank you very much, Dr.
thank
Sajid.
now we have next session on 5:15 p.m. A valedictory online session. So I request to all participants, please join that. Thank you all.
Okay, thank
Thank you,
you.
ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.